Okay, so everyone, okay, Nico can start. Okay.
Mhm.
Sige. Feel free.
Okay. All right. So, hi, I'm Nico. I'll be your Blender instructor today. And in the following sessions, you'll be learning Blender so you can make your own 3D designs for school and work. Um, you can all hear me. Can you confirm that? I mean, at least say something or ping something.
Yes, sir, we can hear you po.
Yes
Okay,
po, sir.
good.
Yes po, sir.
Okay.
Hendrik,
Yes po, sir. I can hear you.
Mel, and who's the other guy? Miko. You guys arrived there. Anyway, uh, hmm.
Yeah.
Are you guys alive? Anyway, okay. So you can see my screen clearly. I'm going to speak in English, but don't worry about using Tagalog when asking me questions. Also, if you really don't get something, it's okay if you interrupt and ask. You might want to take notes. If everyone's ready, I'm going to start.
You can use the OJT log for your notes.
Mhm. So, anyway, I'm going to share my screen. Just Blender. Where's that? It's odd. Well, I guess it'll be my whole screen.
Ayaw
It's
niyo
not.
ayaw niyo mag-share window.
Um, doesn't seem to be. Blender's not here. I don't know why. Oh well. It's everything but Blender. Anyway, I guess it's the whole screen. Anyway, it's just gonna be Blender here. So, when you first open Blender, just click on General or actually anything but the other options here. So, General, it'll create a general type of file. You don't want 2D files or any other type of file here for the moment. It has a number of workspaces. You'll see it might be a little confusing. Um, you'll see layout, modeling, sculpting, UV editing, etc. But for now, we'll be sticking with layout. Then I'd like you guys to follow along if you can. Um, try moving to another workspace and back because if you accidentally do that by pressing a button, you'll have to know how to navigate back. Then you'll learn about viewports. Well, this thing is a viewport here. Now, uh, it shows what you're working on. You can have more than one at a time. Now, you basically go to the end of one, like any corner, and it'll have this X thing, and it'll let you split the screen in two. So, why do you want that? Sometimes you want to look at something from two different views at the same time. See how it changes when you move them around, and you might want a different type of screen on one of them. Now, to put them back, you just have to go to a corner and, well, actually, a corner nearest one of them and put it on top of the other. Like that. And there. So it's back to one screen. Now, just make one, get rid of one, try it out. Um, now, you'll see sometimes if you make two viewports, this thing doesn't extend all the way. You can roll the middle mouse button to get to the parts that you don't see. I'm telling you this because knowing this would have helped me when I was starting and when things changed on screen that I didn't really get. So you could change the type of viewport by clicking on this. It's editor type. It's a little grid with a ball symbol. There are all sorts of other types of stuff here. You could try changing them, but for now we'll be on 3D viewport. The others are for like assets, making shading, all sorts of stuff, animating. But if you accidentally change it, you'll have to go back to 3D viewport. Okay. Um, if all goes badly, you can always, just reload your file as long as you saved it in the proper place. Now, the viewport has several modes. For now, we'll be sticking with object mode, but edit mode, sculpt mode, those are all for changing the stuff you see here. Um, and yeah, mainly that's so you don't get confused when you've accidentally pressed the button and, like, say, it's suddenly on a different type of screen and you don't know how to get back. It's probably either one of these modes, one of these, or a screen here. Or if you've accidentally pulled the screen, you can just put it back, and if you don't need that screen. Okay, so the viewport has four actually. There's several different types of shading. Um, there's the wireframe shading. You can see that. The solid shading. You can see that here. The material preview shading. Right now, it doesn't really look like much, but it's more important when there's a light source, and basically it just uses a generic sort of lighting and whatever color you have here and material. Like if you've loaded up, I'll show you how to do this later, but let's say you've loaded up some sort of texture, like a picture or something. Let's just use any random picture, like like this, and you'll see it here, but you won't see it here. And if you look here, this uses the actual lighting of the area. That's the preview, the rendering shader. It's as close as you'll get to the final render without using the render options here. So there's also X-ray view. It lets you, for example, look through the object when you're working on it. It will show things behind it as translucent. For example, let's say we duplicate this and have them behind each other. If you're in this view, you can kinda see it, but if you press the X-ray off, you can't. Okay, now moving around in the viewport, you'll notice that if you hold the middle mouse button, you can spin around the thing in whatever direction. Now, the other controls really are just pressing shift before holding it. So it lets you go side to side and up to down. Or control, which lets you zoom in and out. So you could also change your view with this thing. You see this? It's like a group of X, Y, Z circles. If you press one of them, it goes to like the side view, the top view, if you press it again, it's the bottom view, and so on. Or you could just move this around by just pulling it. You could also move the screen around by grabbing this and dragging it. You see that hand symbol? Here's also zoom. This is the camera view. It only really works if there's a camera. If you go here, you'll see there's this thing here. It's a camera. It's what renders when you'll actually make a video or a picture of the thing. Now, anyway, you can try clicking this to get the views you want. You can spin it around. Uh, okay, there's also, yeah, the magnifying glass, those icons. Now, to manipulate objects, you have these tools here. So, um, this is the select box. It lets you select objects that are touched by, well, within or touched by this square-like shape. It's useful when you're like handling even-sided, flat-sided things. There are other versions of it, like the select circle, just kind of selects what you touch, and the select lasso, which lets you make a lasso. And it's a little different for, you know, things that are transparent because it doesn't automatically get them unless you select like the center. You see that dot there? There's like a center part that has to be within the selection to make it part of that. Now, um, as usual, you can select more things than one by pressing Shift or Control. Um, let's say you have two objects here. I'll show you how to duplicate stuff next time, but for now, you see Shift, Control. Let's see if you, yeah, basically hold down Shift, you can do that. Hold down Control, it doesn't do that. Oh, it's Shift, rather. It's anyway. You can try it out. Um, so tweak this one just selects whatever you press. It's useful if you don't want to get other things involved and just want to select one thing. Now, this thing is a little confusing at first. It's the cursor. It starts at 0, 0, 0, the place where the world is generated from, or the center. And you can move it around by, well, normally you have a tool that lets you, like the cursor tool, press on something and it'll kind of just place it. So if you're in this view, you could place it on the blue line here. And if you're in the top view, you could kind of try to place it here. And when you move around, it's, well, it's in a kind of weird place. But if you want to place it on, like, say, what do you call that? And then, like, say, at the center of an object, you can press Shift S. Yeah, you might want to take note of this. Shift Shift S. Why is it doing that? Hold on. Oh, was it Shift S or Control S?
Which one you're trying to do? Scale?
It's weird.
S.
Okay. You can't be on this thing. So if you put on the selection tool and press Shift S, you'll see these options come up.
Oh, yeah.
Selection to cursor means it will move whatever you've selected to where the cursor is. But you could move the cursor to, let's say, the world origin. So it's back here. Or if you select this, do that, and you could shift the cursor to that thing. So it's at wherever the center of that thing is. So you could have an object or a point or whatnot. You could also move the object, for example, let's move this here, go back here, select the object, and move the object selection to cursor to send it there. Let's say if your cursor is already on the exact spot you wanted the object to be in. Now, moving the object, several ways of doing it. There's this thing here. You see that? It's the item section at the upper right under transform that shows you the object's X, Y, and Z axis. So you can actually type things in there. So if you want to put it at the center of where the world was generated, it's just 000. You could change its angles here, let's say 34 degrees. And now it's moved this way. You could scale it, let's say 3 in one direction, or 3 in oops, all directions. And this is the actual measurement of it on screen in meters. Well, in the world in meters. So if you turn this to 12, it changes and it shows that thing here, like how different it is from the original size, the scale. But you can also do that here using these tools. Movement. If you select the arrows, it only moves them along those lines. But if you select the circle, you could kind of drag it around every which way. This thing, rotate, same thing. You could move it along the lines or in every which way. Scale it along the lines or in the whole object, like that. Now this combines all the tools into this kind of convenient but slightly messy interface. It's useful for a lot of things when you're making objects and large numbers of them and positioning them. So another thing to note is that when you're using these and you press Control, it snaps it to a grid, or in the case of rotate, it snaps it to certain degrees. Not sure how many those are, probably like 5 or something. And well, it's if you want to make sure that you always have proper angles divisible by, I think, 5 or 10 or something, or the proper distances and exact distances. Okay, so that's it for moving these around. Shortcuts, though, if you want, for moving them are G for move. Uh, let's select this and this. G for move. S for scale.
Mm.
And R for rotate. You might want to have a memory aid for that. I mean, it's GSR. I use Go Sell Rice, but you guys can make your own. Now, annotate. What's this, right? Annotate lets you kind of draw in the area. I mean, it's not something that actually turns up, but if you want to make notes for yourself, you could do that here. And you also have tools to annotate in lines, annotate in like polygonal shapes, and then you can erase them with the eraser. But if you want to see them, take a look. They're in the screen, and they were basically in a flat plane facing where you were facing when you drew them. So yeah, you can have those there. Now, the measuring tool lets you measure what you're working on. It actually has instructions when you hover on it. But anyway, you can, like, it's usually easy to measure when you're doing it here, like, in a line. You could press Control to kind of snap it to things.
Mm. It's gonna be useful for their design when they're gonna do
Yeah,
the
it's going to be
dimensions.
useful for the design. And you could also, what do you call that? Where's that? Measure. Ah, there. You can draw it out. Well, anyway, you can just measure it out for like it's easier when you're using it on the sides and not actual measure. Not you know not trying to measure a tilted object, but it's gonna help you out when you want to know how high something is,
Hmm.
how long, etc. Anyway, they're there. You could actually delete them. Where's that? Why is it not deleting? Ah, there. I just using the delete button. Anyway, so now there's this last thing for adding stuff, shapes. Add cube lets you add a cube. I'll show you what it looks like when you're not in a straight line angle. It's there. It lets you do that, and then lets you lift it up. It's the easy way to make shapes. There's also cone. You should try that out. Um, Cylinders and so on, and spheres. There are two types of spheres, but they're made the same way: the UV sphere and the icosphere. I think you can see the difference. But if you want to add shapes without having to stretch them out or such, and you want like exact um, sizes and such, you might wanna go here and add them using mesh. You can add a plane, a cube, a circle, a sphere, or cone. For example, if you add that here and they just press. Oh wait, no, let's go out of this. Add that. It adds it to the center of where. Well, its center is where the cursor is, and there's this little thing here that comes up that lets you change the parameters of it. How many vertices, radiuses, the rotation, depth, how big it is, stuff like that. Say you want it to really big, like let's just put 15 for now, and maybe a depth of 10, and it looks like that. Okay, I'm gonna put this off. All right, so that's the basics of moving around the screen and making shapes.
Mm.
So I'm going to basically give you an exercise um, to get accustomed to the tools. I want you to make a simple object that's relevant to your future work. You don't have to worry about your color. Um, Also, don't get too ambitious because you have 10 minutes to make it. Uh, you'll probably need to do Control Z or Edit Undo a lot, you know, if you have mistakes. But basically, you could like start with a new file or just erase everything on screen. Uh, you know, Select everything, press delete, it disappears. Uh, Remove the annotations. I'm gonna put the cursor. Well, uh, not gonna bother with the cursor for now, but I'm going to put a timer, and I'd like you guys to go ahead, try to make your shapes. You'll be saving it as session one, uh, exercise one, then your name and the date today. That's the file name. And basically, we'll be checking on that just to see what you've learned. If you have questions, go ahead. But your time, where's that? 10 minutes is about to start and starts now.
Okay.
Mhm.
So guys, you have
Yeah, if you're doing it and you encounter a problem, just go ahead and ask. Or if you're okay, you're okay. But, that's why we're here.
okay. So
I'm going to stop sharing for the moment
yeah,
and
yeah.
look at the screens.
Yeah, you can share your screen to walk through.
Hmm.
Anyone can volunteer to share their screen and demo what they're gonna do. That way, we're here to
Yeah.
be able to
Hmm.
help you.
Yeah. No need to be shy. Everyone starts at the start. When I started this, I couldn't even figure out how to get the second screen properly.
Mm.
So, hmm
Yeah.
anyway, for
Uh,
those of you who already know what you're doing, it's like, relax, do your thing, and then relax for 10 minutes or however much time you have left.
let's see.
Yeah.
Who there can show their screen
Yeah. Anyone want to show their screen?
para we can walk you through.
Or who wants to show off their work?
Kahit na wala pang nakalagay, just
Yeah.
show it.
Don't worry about it. I kind of just want to see what everyone's making. I mean,
So I heard like this is like what we do is gonna be considered asynchronous. Do your professors ask you to demonstrate on your screen the thing? Ayun, show mo yung screen. Yeah, you
mhm.
can, you can. Uh,
Yeah, there's the chat. There
uh,
it is.
yeah, Shift D. So select
Yeah.
Shift D.
Oh, copy an object. Yeah.
Shift D.
You can Shift D, that's the shortcut. You can also right click and duplicate if you can't remember the Shift D very well. It's like right click has a lot of the options. There's also object duplicate in the header. Basically, lots of ways to do it.
Okay po, sir.
Mhm.
Group. Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Sige, let's okay, you're having a hard time
You might want to change your view so you could,
mm,
like you see that thing on the upper right with the Y, Z, and X, so that you could position it exactly.
yeah. Press G to grab, then press X, Y, or Z. It will constrain it to one axis of movement.
Mhm.
So, Control Z mo, balik mo sa dati, sa saan mo kinuha. Control Z mo hanggang bumalik siya. Or,
Mhm.
ayun, yun. So, ayun, so Shift D. So,
Mhm.
nag-duplicate ka na, di ba? Press G, press G, and then press X. So, it will move along the red.
If
X.
you're having trouble, why don't you just use the upper left tool, the move tool,
Yeah,
the one with
yeah.
the arrows?
Yeah, yung 3D na green, red, and blue sa upper right mo.
There's one of that, and there's also the toolbar, so that it shows the arrows. Um, on the upper left, let me show you screen again.
Sige, you can
Doo-doo-doo.
both share simultaneously. People can
Yeah,
switch what they're focused
here.
on.
Um, what I'm saying is, if you want to, I mean, it's easier to move things around in the flat plane if you're in the right view. So let's add a cube. But what I was saying is, you can just use this tool, and it'll show you the arrows so that you can move it, you know, easily without really having to think about how to move it and having to go into a specific view to move it. I mean, the arrows are already there. So if you duplicate something, you could just press escape so it goes back to the same place and then just, slide it along. Copy it,
Then,
duplicate objects, do that,
uh,
so on.
Don't forget the holding down shift so that it will shift and control and alt.
Yeah.
Which one the one that makes it that makes it
Control.
inch by inch or square by square?
Control. Like
Control,
that.
yeah.
See?
When
It does that. Of course, me, if I want exact measurements, I really just,
use
type
the
it out.
yeah.
It's like sometimes easier.
When you get so
For
used to
example,
it,
this one, you want them at the Z0. Oh, you have to basically do it one by one, but at least you know exactly where it is.
hmm, baby steps naman. Okay lang. Baby
Just,
steps.
just there are more tools to make it easier, but for now, you have to get used to the basic tools, or it'll just get confusing. So, yeah, let me look at the screen. There we are. hmm So, yeah, 3 minutes and 40 seconds left.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing? Um,
Hello, can you hear me po?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I can.
May I ask lang po paano po magbago ng diameter ng cylinder?
Bago ng diameter ng what?
Palitan po yung valve.
Cylinder?
Yes po.
Oh, okay. So, a cylinder, let me try that here so it's easier. Let's make a cylinder. So, let's say nakagawa ka na ng cylinder, right? Let me do that. You press shift so it's exact. And then you want to change the diameter, right?
There, oh.
So you have this, it's the wrong diameter. You basically have to, well, select it, of course. And then you'll see the dimensions here. The diameter currently is 2.51 meters. And then if you want it to be like, say, 3, you're going to have to just kind of put 3 on both the X and the Y of it to make it 3. Now, if, for example, you moved it around already, like rotated it, like that, its dimensions are still here. Just don't mess with the scale, you mess with the dimensions.
Oh, don't forget
So
the
you can put
oh,
it at 1, and the diameter is changed.
yeah.
5, or let's say 3, or 2. There. So, yun. I mean, kung nagawa mo na, diba? Then you can do that. Spin it around. Stuff. Yeah. I don't like this tool so much. The transform tool.
Yeah, you have to accept it pa, 'di ba? You have to right click accept all transformations.
No, that's for later. But
Uh
I'll teach them that. But
grabe.
once you've made your shapes, it's a good practice to select everything and basically doing either object apply all transformations, or, well, what's it? I think it was Shift A. Is that? Or was it Control A? Ah, yeah, Control A, and then all transformations. Basically, that will. It's not gonna look obvious now, but when you're making animations with moving parts, or when you're reshaping the shape into some other shape, or using like other tools here, it's gonna be really important to do that. For now, don't think you have to worry, but you'll probably need to do it when you're working on your whatever project you'll be working on later. We'll discuss that later. So, almost time. Basically 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And yeah. Um, how's it going? Did everyone kind of get what they needed to make? Just save your file. Again, it's basically session 1, exercise 1, um, your name and today's date. Okay? Everything saved. Should I continue?
Mm.
You guys are you getting information overload?
Don't worry, after this session, you have about Monday to produce your
Yeah,
parang
your actual
your first
uh,
draft.
yeah,
Uh,
draft of your project. Or rather it's more like the plan for the project because I think you'll still need the next session to actually make a proper draft. But,
mm.
you know, it's good to start early.
File name is uh call this
Uh,
date name.
it's in a um, session 1. I'll write it
Sige, sige, sige.
exercise 1 name date. That. Well, date, not that. hmm Okay. So, tell me when you guys are ready and I'll start.
I think you can start. Anyway,
Okay.
the video will allow them to catch up if
Mhm.
there's anything.
So, next thing we'll learn about is the outliner. It's this thing in the upper right of the screen. You see that? It's got several modes. I mean, there's like this thing here, scene, view layer, etc. But you don't have to worry about that yet. For now, go to view layer. Like if you accidentally press this, just go back to view layer. Okay. Now, you'll see that you can select the objects. They have names here. You could actually rename them. For example, this. Let's put it on this. This is, let's call it cube 1. Then you can put this as cube 2. But if it's the same name, for example, if you make another cube 1, it'll add its own numbering to it, the 0.001 and so on. Anyway, you can't shift their placing here. They're just basically pretty much alphabetical at this point. But you can select them from here, so you can move them around. And you can also delete them from here using the delete option here. Say delete, it's gone. And it's a good thing when you have lots of figures and they're far away, or you don't know where a certain thing is to label them. So you can just press on it to find it in, let's say you have a giant mess of different parts. Um, so you can select several of them using shift. Let's say shift select or control. So you can select, oh well, it's an alt, was it? It's weird. Ah, shift, this control. So you can select them individually you know, without selecting the ones in between. Shift is for when you want to select the stuff in between. Okay, you can mess with collections. Everything right now is in this collection. You could rename it. You could select all the objects in it. like select objects, suddenly everything in the collection is there. Um, and if you make a new collection, you could actually put one here and press new collection. It puts one outside. Or if you make a collection within the collection, you can make a new one right there. Or you could like duplicate one. If you duplicate this one, it makes a copy of it with everything inside it. So select them, move them, and you have two of them. And they're in neatly arranged parts, like say left side or right side, whatever. You could rename them and basically group your parts of your work in that way. You could delete entire collections. So you don't want it, delete it. Oh, sorry, delete hierarchy rather. Deletes everything in it. But if you delete it, it just deletes the collection, but not the stuff in it. It just dumps all of that stuff outside.
Hello,
Now,
everyone, and welcome.
Sorry.
mhm. Now, you could drag things into other collections. Basically, it's just a way you can arrange your work easily and look for them, especially when the files have so many parts. You could make them invisible. For example, if you do this, it doesn't appear here. Note that this is to make it visible and invisible in rendering, the camera icon, but it won't change what you're seeing on screen. This will change what you're seeing on screen, but won't change whether it's rendered or not, let's say in the final video or picture when you make an image, which I'll show you how to make later on. Okay, now a bit about render properties. We'll go on to that more in the next session, but for now, um, before we talk about cameras and lighting, you will see something here that says render properties. It's in this part here, the this what do you call that in the editor. So I'd like you to set your render engine to Eevee. You see that? Because Cycles, while it's I guess nicer or has more accurate lighting, it also takes a long time to render and a lot more computing power. So Eevee is what's used in video game style rendering, and normally you only really need Eevee. Um, there's Workbench, but that's pretty much just kind of like what you see
Yeah.
in like your workspace.
Yeah. What you're seeing is Workbench.
Yeah. So you don't want to render it as Workbench. It's just gonna be lame. Okay, so cameras and lights. You won't be able to do anything with your work if you don't have cameras and lights. When you start a scene, normally it comes with some sort of cameras and lights, but I think I deleted them all. So
Mm.
you can select them and delete them on the outliner, but you can also add them by just going here and adding a light. For now, let's add a point light and let's mess around with that. So you have a point light here. It won't look like anything's happening until you go on this view, the viewport shading, the rendered version. So right now it looks dark because the light's probably not bright enough to do anything. You can see it if you put it really near, it kind of brightens a shape. Now, here in this editor area, you can click on the light bulb thing and you can change the type of light you have, or you could make it more powerful or less powerful. There are other settings, but don't worry about those yet. I'll tell you about them a bit Basically, diffuse is how wide or diffused light is. Specular. Oh, hold on. Um, Specular basically um, is like how focused it is. And well, anyway, let's say we put this to 100 power, it gets brighter, right? You move it near other objects, it also illuminates those better. Let's say you put it to 500, it gets even brighter. Now, sun makes the light appear to come from, well, somewhere off screen, like sunlight. You can change the angle, but it's generally brighter than the others. So you might want to lower it a bit. And when using it, say the light's coming from the bottom, you see that thing, you could mess around with where this faces by doing, right, let's do that. Let's make it face up, and let's make it face completely up. And the shadow's now on top. Spotlight makes a spot. Well, you could rotate that too here, but anyway, I'm just using tools because it's easier. So it illuminates just a part of something, like I think I need more power.
Yeah, that's wattage. Yeah.
There. So it lets you illuminate certain things. You could focus the angle or make it, less focused. Area makes, well, if you look closely, it makes a flat plane of light that kind of glows. If you make it bigger, and it kind of sends the light in that direction. It's good for making like groups of light sources. Anyway, that's light. You'll need to position it when you're making your angles or views of what you're working on. But normally you do it after you position it after you've built your project. Unless you want to see it while working on it, in which case you just kind of have a placeholder light. Now, cameras. What are cameras? That's the place where you'll see the view from when you take a picture or a movie or something. So, you can also add cameras from here. It puts a camera where the cursor is. You can position the camera. When you see the settings here, there's like perspective view, which is the normal view. Oh, this, by the way, lets you see what the camera is seeing, which right now is nothing. So let me face the camera. You can actually face it like a normal, object. Now, is it facing anything? Yes. Okay, good. Orthographic lets you see things as if they were, all right angled and stuff. Perspective is normal. The actual normal focal length is like 43.27, but everyone rounds that up to 50 millimeters. That's for like cameras. Panoramic doesn't show much difference here, but it'll show a difference when you have larger scenes. Anyway, we'll stick to perspective. The clip start is the distance at which it begins to render things. And the clip end is also the distance where it stops rendering. So anything beyond 1,000 meters from the camera won't render right now, unless you change that value. and anything less than a meter from the camera won't render. For example, oh, by the way, when you move things, you can change the orientation from default or global to local, so it moves along the camera's view. Now, let's see, if you move this too close to something, the camera might not render it. So if you've done your project, you have a camera set up, it's near something or far from something, and you've noticed that parts of your work are missing, you might have to change these things. So anyway, the best way to move the camera around when it's in this screen, I mean, there are options using like letters, etc. But the best way I've found is just to go to where's that? Um, you go to lock camera view. Basically, you go to the viewport, select where's that? Lock here. You see view, lock the camera view. You can also lock it to the 3D cursor so it kind of flies and stares at wherever the cursor is. But if you lock it to the camera view, whenever you move around like normally, the camera changes its position to match. So you could use your normal commands, your zoom, your, yeah, so you don't have to worry too much. Now, if you lock it to this, wait, that's just going out and in. If you lock it to 3D cursor, basically, regardless of where it's supposedly facing here, when you render, it'll stare at that point there. Okay, so I'll just show you a little something about color so you can at least put some color to your work. Doesn't have to be accurate. Try making, let's say, a sphere or cube or something if you don't already have one on screen. You can press shift to make sure it's exact. I'm gonna put it near the light so you can actually see it properly. And I'm gonna try to face the camera at it. There. Oh, maybe let's get a bit more of the other shapes. There. So, select the ball. And we're going to make a material for it here in material properties. You click on this. There's nothing there. We don't have any materials yet. You press new. Material comes up. You can name it. I'll name mine color. Color 1. And then for now, you could click here and change its color. There's RGB, HSV, hex, whatever you want. But I'm more used to RGB. But you could also, like, say, use this and say you like the color of this thing. Sorry. Okay, so it's there. It has that. It looks like a weird gridded shape. So you have that color. If you want a new color, you'll have to add one, and put it on another object. For example, right now you can only add the same color. But if you put a different material, it's a material I made earlier. Let's say you put. Let's not use that material. Let's make a new one. Okay. A yellow color here. You can have, well, it's not very yellow, is it? Yellow color here. You could have that color there. You could remove colors. You could add them. Anyway, for now, we'll go into more detail for rendering colors later on. But let's stick to that for now. Also, if you click on an object, you can shade it smooth or flat by right-clicking and putting shade smooth. Now it looks like an actual sphere. Okay, now you could also make it shade flat. There are more options if you look at other modes, but this is it for now. And well, pretty much that means we're moving on to exercise 2. Uh, exercise 2 is simple. You have 7 minutes. Basically, open the file you made for exercise 1, save it as exercise 2, and then basically add some color to it. And that's it. It's simple. Very, very simple. You guys have 7 minutes to do that. Just tell me if you need help with anything or if anything is confusing. 7 minutes starts now. You guys okay over there? It's very quiet.
So still absorbing up.
And just tell me if you guys are having a hard time, an easy time, whatever. Are you getting the colors in at least?
Sir, pwede po pakiulit yung paglagay ng color?
Sure, sure. Sige, I'll share the screen again. And here, let's say, I'll select this, right? Wala siyang color or anything, diba? It's here. You see that? Material properties in the editor. So once you've selected the object, you press... by the way, you have to be in one of the rendered modes to see the color. So make sure you're on rendered here. You press new, and a material comes up. What color do you want? Blue or whatever?
Green na lang po, sir.
Sige, green. Green. So green, right? You press this, base color. Make sure this is principled, and this is like JGX. Press the white thing here because it starts out as white. And you will see that. You could go all the way here. Now, if you do this, it darkens or lightens it. You can just slide it along these for different shades. And once you're done, you just select wherever, and the object has that color. If you want to switch between the colors you already have, you can. And yeah, they're there. If you have two colors on an object, for example, I added this and then accidentally stuck this or something like that, but you want this color there and not the green one, you just subtract it, or that doesn't get rid of it from your selection. Or you could, let's say, undo that. I'll undo it. You could actually, how do I put it? Actually, there's a way to apply it in a different mode. Edit mode, select all, and then assign. But for now, you just, if you don't like the color, just make sure it has one color and delete the color you don't like.
Thank you, sir. Gets pa.
Gets. I mean, all good here. Yeah, I want to shade it smooth. Okay. we 3 minutes left. Well, 3 minutes, 13, 11 seconds. Mhm. Because after that, we're going to take a picture of what you made using your, well, rendering options here. So now you can make very basic stuff, which is pretty good already. Anyway, let's not use the camera view. Please. Yeah, camera view locked. Okay. No one else is having trouble. Anyone else, are all good. Yeah, just make sure you don't save over your old work. Yeah, I think we're still kind of ahead in time, so that's fine. It's moving. hmm If you're done, just take this moment to rest your brains and relax a little. Next parts are relatively simple. A lot of it is just getting used to the controls, and you don't even have to know all the controls. You can actually do a lot of work with just like half of the controls known, and just showing you all so you can adjust, pick which ones are best for you. So 15 seconds. Okay. Time's up. We're going to go on to the next part, um, which is relatively simple. Basically, yeah, just save that first. Uh, you know, Session 1, exercise 2, your name, your date, today's date rather. Now, um, make sure that there's a light there and that it kind of looks okay to you in the render shader viewer. I mean, for example, yeah, use the camera, position it how you want your object to be, make sure the light is in the right place. Once you've done that, um, oh, wait, I'm going to show you something also because sometimes you'll have two cameras. Let's say you have a camera here and let's go out of this view, add another camera, and I want to go from this angle. So I'm going to go here to view, cameras, and set active object as camera. That's what I'm selecting right now. Once I do that, it shows up. And since it's locked, I can turn around again to look from that other view. So let's say you like this view, or you want to go back to that view. You select it, view, cameras, set active object to camera, and now it's the other view. Now you can switch between the cameras. You could mess around with that. Um, Now, to actually get a picture of what you're doing, let's go back to this camera. I think I like that view better. Go to this ribbon area here. Look for render. You see that? Then when you click it, you'll see render image. You can also press F12, but I don't usually remember that. And it will show up. It will take time if there are too many other objects, or it's a very complicated thing, or there are too many lights and stuff. But anyway, it shows up pretty quick here. Now, once it's here, you can save it. Image, press image, save as. And at this point, I'd like you to save it also as Blender Session 1 Exercise 3A. Now, I'm not going to save mine, but you can save yours. And then I'd like you to make a second camera view, go to that view, and save it as Exercise 3B. Okay? Once you're done, you could just, minimize it or press X, go back, work again, go to the other camera, go to view, select it, render, it'll pop up. Once it pops up, you save it again, and you'll have, the two files you need for exercise 3. Yeah, 3A and 3B. So after that, we will learn. You guys done with that? Just to be sure. I mean, no one's still rendering for some reason. Oh, did I miss Mel's question? Yeah. Each side of the cube can have a different color. Just to show you how it's done, you need to go into edit mode. I might as well show you now. You'll be doing this next time anyway. Edit mode, but I'll show you how to use this properly next time. But for now, you can select the faces, like one side, and assign a different color to it. Oh, why is it not? It's weird. Oh, okay. You have to add materials. So you select the face, add the material, assign green. I'll put green and assign green. And then select a face. You'll have to add a new material. Put that here and assign that. And now you have a cube with, well, it's not a cube anymore. Now you have a cube with 3 different colors. But that's basically going to use edit mode, but I'll teach you more about that next session. Okay. Is everyone done with coloring?
Sir, question, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, can we adjust the camera, like the dimensions, like its coverage?
Yeah, yeah. That's here in um, where's that? Actually, where's the camera? Here. Um, Focal length is most of that. For example, if you put it on 100, it narrows. If you put it on, like, say, 10, it gets, kind of fish-eyed. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yep. 50 is just the default. You can change it to what you need. Okay. So you have your renders, because we'll be doing some other stuff next, which is basically getting a file and putting things together using that file. Anyway, I'll start to load it up. Where's that? Open, don't save, don't really need that. Take a while. You guys have this file? Yeah, no? Anyone? Come on, guys. Speak to me. You're all shy or something. Okay, so you don't have it. I will send you the link. Where's that? Hold on. Hold on. Copying link. Paste. Now, check if this works. Load it, open it in Blender, and tell me if you guys have problems, because we'll be working on this. Uh, yeah, I might not see what you're saying, so try to speak up. There's the scene here. Basically, it's a scene with a whole bunch of stuff. It was made to show different types of desks. I don't think I've locked the camera here. Yeah, I should do that. Or maybe not, so the camera doesn't move around. Anyway, um, I could get rid of this. So, oh, wrong side. Yeah, there. And then put it on the proper rendering. Um, so, anyway, you guys see this. Um, I'd like you to actually open it and save it as Blender Session 1 Exercise 4 and your name and the date. Now, you will see these things. I'll have you split the screen into two, one on top of the other. And you will see the options here. This is when we'll use this editor type. And I'd like you to go to Asset Browser. Unless it's set up, tell me if you don't see the objects here, because it might not be set up. But if you do, you'll see all this stuff here. Um, you guys see it? Anyway, you're here. I'm assuming you are seeing it. Uh, you'll probably set it. It's probably set to unassigned. Normally, you what do you call that? Normally, when it's unassigned, you'll change it. Um, where's that? You'll basically, there's a user library. I have stuff here because they have other files with libraries. Um, but if you just go to current file, it only features the stuff within the file. Uh, so Do you see any other options here, like executive tables, etc.? It's okay if you don't. I'm just wondering if they're loaded in your computer. Now, normally you'll have to go to Edit Preferences and File Paths and Asset Libraries to save the folder that the file is in, to make it the base folder for your asset library. Basically, that just means you'll go here, select this, whatever folder your file is in, just press accept, and that's pretty much it. It's good. It should save that, and other files in that folder should be able to get the same assets from, well, other files in that folder if they're set up properly. So, you'll see that there's a collection of parts here. Like this plant is here. Um, you could select different things here, and you can, for example, um, how do you say it? Um, you could. Oh, sorry. For now, for example, if you have a group of objects that you want to turn into a whole, for example, I'm gonna select the chair and the desk and the computer on top of it and this little book over here, and I'm gonna duplicate them, right? So now they're a different set, and I want them to be one whole object. All you have to do is right click and press join, or Control J, and well, it's gonna join this. It's taking a while because it's a complicated shape. Or there's object and join. Once you've done that, all of these are the same object. So everything moves as one. Okay? Now, that's how you normally set up an asset before placing it into a file as an asset. You can add that here. Now, to do that, you select object here, and then you go to asset and mark as asset. Once you do that, it shows up. I don't know what name it was. I think it's still named book. So here, it shows up here, and you can remove the asset. Basically, you see that, right click, clear asset, and now it's gone. So this will help you with big projects when you want to repeat various things, or when you want to take from a different file. Let's say you have machine parts, chairs, other things from there that you want to add to your new file. It's good to make them different things into assets, so that you don't have to remake them or copy paste them or import them every time. You can just basically grab it here. This is toast bread. Stick it here, and there's a piece of toast on the table that you can just position now. So that's what the assets are for. Okay? Did you guys get all that? Do you have questions? Because we'll be going to last exercise for the day before your proposal ideas. Okay? So, the exercise is relatively simple, but it might be confusing, or it might, uh, depending on how you approach it, you might have trouble, but I'm just here to help. You'll have 15 minutes for it. The idea is that you'll make an office scene using that file. That's why I had you save it as exercise for. With the different stuff there, if you look, there's more than one type of table here. They're just invisible. Uh, you could move those tables around. You could do whatever you need to do to make the file work for you. In fact, you could just get rid of this whole office thing and make your own. But the main important part is that you have to make an office scene that has more than one desk, that has two camera angles, and looks like an actual office. It doesn't have to depart drastically from what you have here, so you can just basically modify your stuff, remove stuff, make it simpler, make it harder. Doesn't have to be too different, but the main requirements are you have more than one desk, two camera angles, and it has to look like a proper office. And you don't have to render it. Just get the proper camera angles you want, both angles, both sides, the proper lighting you want, and save it. And that's your exercise before we get to, well, the last parts of our session. Um, okay, I'm gonna start the timer. And any questions, just feel free to ask. I'm gonna check those later, but so far I don't think you guys should be having too much trouble, unless you really try to do something drastic. But yeah, don't be shy to ask questions. Okay. I'll check on something here. So, is everyone doing okay? Mhm. Everyone's quiet, right? Lots of info. And don't worry, you guys will get the hang of it. A lot of it's just practice. And you'll get to learn more of what you do a lot. So if you're making building designs, you'll get to learn how to do that better. If you're making machine parts or electronics, you'll get to learn the tricks to doing that more than other people. In the meantime, I will just mess around with stuff. Basically, you'll be learning to do this sort of stuff next session.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, for the last exercise, so we're required to have at least one table or two tables.
Two at least two desks.
And then, sir, after that, we need to.
Two camera angles. You don't have to render them. They just have to be, looking at the thing properly.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Obviously, the lighting has to, be there because you won't see anything if there's no lighting.
Hello sir, yung gagawin po is yung dito po sa executive file po.
Yeah.
Ika-copy na lang po ba yung mga tables? Or gagawa po talaga?
You can copy those tables. Basically, you're using the stuff there to assemble your own
Tapos,
office.
yun po i-ano po sa bagong file po yun.
You basically save a new file using, basically you use that file, save it as a new file.
Okay.
So, you don't have to transfer everything inside it.
Okay po.
Basically you make it easy for you. It's a lot of work sometimes in 3D is taking files and basically fixing them up, rearranging them, adding stuff, or just modifying what you have.
Sir, how do you add objects again?
There's the tool here. Let me do that. There's this thing, add UV sphere, add cube, add whatever, or you could put add here. But if you want to add from the asset library, what are you trying to add from? Or what
Yes,
are you
sir, from the library. How do you access yung tables and other
Here.
objects?
So asset browser, right? And then, there's nothing in this current file. I'm just gonna track it to it's a different file. User library. That's probably not the right file. You know what? I will open that file again. This one's not set up. So once you have the asset library, what do you see there? Do you see these stuff? Because if you do, you can just drag them into the office.
Sir, are you sharing your screen?
Oh, no. I'm not sharing. Okay. Hold on. Apparently, it's just on the share part, but nothing's shared. It errored suddenly na. It's doing something weird.
Okay lang po, sir.
It's glitching. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, nag-glitch siya. Sorry about that. Okay, do you see this thing here? The asset library, the asset browser. Do you see it?
Yes po.
Okay.
How do I access that, sir?
What do you mean access? How do you get the stuff here there?
Yes po.
You
Yung
click
nakikita
down?
ko yung object.
To see the objects. You don't see any objects?
Yes po. No.
So click on this. What's written here?
Nakalagay lang po yung parang gear na icon sa akin
So
sa baba.
it's not this one. I mean, you did press asset browser, right? I mean,
Ah, okay po.
3D
Asset
viewport,
browser. Ah, po,
asset
it's in
browser.
asset browser na.
Yeah.
And
And then
then,
current file, and you should
file.
see this stuff.
Okay po.
Is it working?
Yes po.
Okay.
Then, about saving these,
Saving what?
yung library po ng objects na.
Oh, you want to save things into it, or do you want to have access to it from other files? Is that what do you
Access
mean?
from other files po. Yes po.
Okay. So to make sure you have access to other files, I mean access to these assets in other files, go to File, Edit rather, Edit, Preferences, and File Paths, and you'll see something here.
Okay po.
Make sure that the folder you have here on the top one is the folder that this file is in,
Ah, yes po.
whatever folder that is. Once you've done that, the other files, you can do the same thing and they'll all share assets as long as they're directing to the same folder. The other folders here are for different folders. Basically, if you go here, I have a folder that has this stuff and stuff, but right now I think you guys only have the stuff in the current file.
Yes po.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Also, how do you get rid of the other user perspective po?
Other user perspective. For example, I don't know what you mean.
There were dalawang perspective po kanina eh.
For example, two screens.
Yes po. Yes po, sir. I had two
Okay.
screens. Tapos
You go to the corner near the screen that you in the screen you want to keep, but near the screen you don't like. For example, here, right?
ah, okay.
And then you click on it, oops, and then you push it on top of the other one and let go.
Okay po, sir.
Mhm.
Thank you po.
Yeah, I had problems with that too when I was like starting. Like, why? How do
Thank
you
you,
get rid
sir.
of them? And then I just keep replicating them, like making hundreds of these. But yeah, you just basically push them on top of each other. You can't push them from the opposite side, so you have to really. Okay, there. hmm So apparently there's bread. I'm getting hungry. There's butter. There's a plate. Put the butter and the bread, toast. Hmm. Plate isn't big enough for the toast. Let's make it bigger. Mm-hmm. Ta-da! We have a snack. I don't know why there was a snap here, but it was a boardroom when this started. Turned it into an office. Anyway, 2 minutes 23 seconds. How are you guys doing? Okay, having trouble, doing great. And you can put your own walls if you don't like them. Do. Mm-hmm. looks like we're almost exactly on schedule. Hmm. We're good. We're on schedule actually.
Okay, good, good,
Mhm.
good. Oh, that's great. Just finished the meeting early, so I was able to join.
So they're kit bashing now.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Actually, mabilis yung ano, yung learning curve actually. Especially
Yeah,
kung
yeah.
bata pa.
Especially if you you get uh, you know introduced rather than it's hard when you try to focus on something at the start.
Hmm.
It's easier when you just know how the tools are used and don't try to make anything yet.
Mm. Mm. Ayun. Yeah, ayun daw. Yan ako nga, curious ako anong mga relevant sa project kasi
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in like 26 seconds.
okay.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just doing the kit bashing.
Yeah, I'm curious what the ano is. What the
Yeah, what they'll need to work with their actual work.
So I added the link to the Blender basics
Mhm.
as well as the documentation.
Yeah.
So
Okay, guys, time's up. Just save those files. I assume you already renamed them.
share it here sa ano sa log.
Hmm.
Share the files in the log.
And yeah, uh, basically, um, the last thing we'll be doing now, it's not an exercise. You'll be basically using the remaining time you have to create your proposal for a visualization relevant to your course or work, your future work or your course. It's going to be the focus or end product of these training sessions.
Mm.
Um, Basically, obviously, it should be something like a sellable design or something relevant to your future field of work. You want it to look impressive, like an actual machine part or a building or a circuit board, or I don't know what courses you guys actually have. But you'll be learning to make these designs. Next session with me will be basically focusing on customizing the parts and designs and not just using basic shapes.
Mm.
Now, we'll need you to write a description of the proposal. Um, if it's like your ideal house, school, engine, whatever, um, and explain its relevance to your field of study or work. Like, what's so special about it? How's it better, cheaper, more modular, or easier to build, or basically any advantage it has
Mm.
over other similar things. And eventually, you'll be presenting it like a real project. That's what you're training to do, or
Mm.
even if it's not that specific thing, this is the sort of thing you'll be doing in the future. So, you should make as much information as you need to explain why it's a good design.
Mm.
Describe how you'll be showing it, how you want to render it. Um, Basically, if you're going to make videos, there's going to be rendering time elements. Picture renders, you want impressive shots. And over the next sessions, you'll be learning how to do it in Blender and how to make any supporting details, backgrounds, materials, features. Um, so between today and the next session, uh, might want to try and figure out some of the skills you'll need for that by yourselves. You might want to start working on it. Actually, you should start working on it and making mock-up designs, or at least the parts of it that you'll
Mm.
be using.
Mm.
And each project will have different requirements, so while I can teach you all the basics, there's some stuff specific to certain things that you might have to learn that's not part of the basics. So once you've done these ideas, I want you to write them down. Actually, just start writing, I guess, is the best thing to do. Save it as in a Word file, as Blender visualization proposal, your name and the date. Let me write that down. So
Mm.
so that so pretty much yeah, name and date. Don't forget the name and date. And basically, you'll have the rest of the class period to do this, to figure this out. If you have questions, go ahead and ask. If you have ideas, or if anything's really not clear, it's fine. Just right here. Make sure it's something relevant to your work or studies. Yeah, that's pretty much the rest of your session. And I'm here available for any, questions, consultations. Even if you're like, I want to do this, but I'm not sure it can be done. Just go ahead and ask.
Tama ba? 6 kayo or 7? Archie, Miko, Mel, Ivan, Hendrik. The Fireflies, that's also Miko or that's... I forgot.
It's Firefly AI note taker.
I don't know what that is. First time I've
Is it
seen
a
it.
recording tool? I don't know. Is it account number 2?
Yeah. Kanino yung Fireflies? I don't remember eh.
Mm.
It's another conversation.
Anyway, what are your courses, guys? Just wondering.
Oh, it's a meeting transcriptor?
Sounds good.
Hey, how did you get that?
Yeah, it's useful. Yeah, I knew it was some sort of note taker. So yeah.
Yeah, but like that's an engineering student. Like I would expect that from an IT student.
Yeah, it's useful.
Yeah, kanino yung AI?
It's not Miko's.
Was it
Is
Miko?
Miko there? Hello, Miko.
Kay Miko. Paano mo nakuha yan? Miko.
Probably linked to
Did you get it
It
from...
was offered lang po, like, tawag doon, link po siya sa email po namin. Ewan ko sa UST email ko nga po siya nakuha eh. Then, I tried subscribing to it lang po. It's actually a free subscription. Tapos, yun po, ewan ko, bigla pong rumekta dito sa,
Nagagamit mo ba yung transcription niya?
ang nagsasabi lang po siya ng mga meeting details po.
Ah, it just... Huh. If it's free, you only see meeting details, which you can figure out from ano. How do you know it's not malware?
That's another question.
Kasi it has...
Sir,
it's getting information from you eh, and everybody around
Yun
you
nga
eh.
po, I don't have idea nga po kung paano siya pumasok.
Maybe you should check on that.
Oh my. Huh, that's interesting. Good thing there's nothing sensitive yet. Pero that's the... Well, nakalagay GDPR sa picture niya pero I mean, I don't know who this is. And the unsubscription in GDPR requires easy unsubscribe. Like, isang click to unsubscribe. Pero,
Well, next time you could just kick it, right?
can I try to kick it? What happens if I kick it? Magki-kick out ka din, Miko?
I don't know po, try kicking
I mean,
it out.
it's a separate piece, so it
Try
should
ko.
work.
Check ko lang ah. Just log in if kung ikaw affected ka.
Yeah.
Yes po.
Okay, fill out, remove, block from Discord. Call? Hindi, I'll just remove it lang.
Just remove. Ta-da!
Affected ka ba, Miko?
Hindi naman po.
Yeah, it should be fine.
That's interesting. But yeah, it's good that I asked. Now that you told me na it's like when my son installed all these apps when he first had a cell phone and he was 5 years old. I was like, oh my god, all these apps. So it's okay, it's okay. We'll figure it out. I'm sure there's a YouTube video how to uninstall it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
probably. Anyway, it's like 4:48.
Yeah.
You have
Oh.
12 minutes for your ideas.
Okay.
Try to think of things really, what you want to, if you have an invention in mind or you actually want to start working on one of your big projects in the future,
Something
might
that
as well
will
put it as a proposal.
like you have an employer that's part of your may portfolio ba yung engineer kagaya ng artist nagpapakita ng works like does engineers also do that IT they kind of do it kayo
Well, they should have something.
ayun Miko do you have ikaw what's your ano tawag mo dito what's your off the top of your head that you're planning?
Don't know yet.
Ang pinaka-idea ko po is, di ba po yung thesis namin? So, action detection siya. Action detection device.
Action detection device.
No,
Okay.
okay.
Ayun, okay yun. Just visualize one, have it in a sample office or sample hospital.
Anything really,
Yeah,
wherever
or a
you put it.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like demonstrate how it's going to look. Like, is it going to be? Does it look like a camera, like a CCTV cam? Is it like a nondescript, reflective panel? Pakita
Yeah,
yung.
just try to, think of what the final product looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a good proposal design.
Yeah. Okay. Sige, let's Alex, ikaw, ano sa'yo? Ano yung naiisip mo?
Same with thesis lang po. Yung steel plate.
Yung steel
I want
plate.
to show yung corrosion niya. Yung pagka-corrode po ng surface ng steel plate.
So you want to
Something like
show different, different types of corrosion?
Parang animation of how it's supposed to protect the steel plate, parang ganyan, di ba? How the science, how the chemicals are protecting itself. Ano ba yung
Pwede naman.
Yes. Yes.
animation of how the science work? Okay, that's good.
Ang title po,
Title
it's more
is
on
Acid.
yung inhibitor ng mild steel kasi susceptible sila sa corrosion. Kaya yun yung gagamitin ko sanang way para ma-visualize din nung sa thesis namin
Yeah, you
yung
can make a
nangyayari sa
little
plate.
set of pictures or videos for that.
Yes pa.
call this how galvanized steel
What are those plates used for normally?
For beams, tapos columns po. Beams and columns.
Okay. So mga construction material, no?
Yes po.
yeah, there's several videos about how galvanized steel prevents corrosion. Baka like you can look for a good one and use that video na may mga 3D demo and we can use that as a basis of what are the skill sets that you're going to need to demo that kind of
Make those visualizations.
visualization ng chemical reaction.
Mhm.
Ayun, so
Heck,
parang
you might even have you might even have a, what do you call that? 3D molecular process.
3D.
If you're in chemistry, how the atoms combine.
Yeah, parang material science yan eh.
It depends on what you want to do, really.
Yeah,
It's how you want to present it.
chemical process. Okay. So, Hendrik, ano sa'yo?
Yung ano po yung sa visualization po.
Oo.
Ay, for now po yung sa thesis po yung capacitor. Yung
Yung
energy harvester po.
energy
Energy
harvester.
harvester using supercapacitor po.
Making one.
Indigenous material
Apo.
supercapacitor.
Indigenous.
Pwede research
That's
po
interesting.
namin yun sa ano, yung sa circuit, ano po yung laman ng circuit board, tsaka po yung namin yun.
Wasan yun. I'm trying to imagine.
Sa ECE po,
Like, what's it made of?
Less harmful materials. It's a he's trying to produce a semiconductor which is usually device mass produced pero with more
Indigenous
sustainable.
materials. I'm like, what's that? Wood?
Abaca daw?
Abaka. Oh, it's really interesting.
Okay. Sige, Mel, ano sa'yo? Hindi mo si Mel? Ayan.
No.
Sorry.
Your mic's busted.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
type
yeah.
it out.
Yeah, type it out. Sige.
That's my alarm on.
My head for buildings incorporated biomimicry. Okay. Buildings. Kasi civil ka?
Okay. So, an actual building design.
Civil ka, okay, yeah. Like the ant hills that have cooling. Something like termite hills with cooling, yung mga ganyan. Okay. Or wasp nests that have,
Yeah.
special features. Okay. That's important.
Like to see that too.
And then, Archie. Ano sa'yo?
Nasa isip ko po kasi yung isa ko pong thesis na yung refrigerator na pwedeng dalhin sa kung saan saan.
Portable
Mini
refrigerator.
port.
I want one.
Oh, okay.
With po, battery and
Battery
Power
and
supply.
powered.
healthier ganun po.
Oh my god, ano ka? Hanap ka ng mini compressor. And then
Sir, yung namin, yung thesis namin, hindi kami gumamit ng compressor.
Oh, okay.
Hindi rin kami gumamit ng refrigerant. Ang ginamit po namin is peltier and thermal po na para ma-equalize yung init yung pati lamig ng
Parang may heat
peltier.
sink ka or something.
heat sink.
Like, what is
Parang
that?
ganun po.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that could go that far.
So but you're an electrical engineer, so parang insulation yung thesis mo. It's about insulation, which is how
Or in po sir, cooler.
Parang
Yung
heat
insulation
trap
po
na
namin
device.
kasi open siya
yeah,
para sa init po.
You know
Kasi
how
meron
you
din siyang fan
cool
sa likod.
computers? Parang ganun.
okay. So that's the electrical component, yung
Para hindi na kailangan ng compressor. Yeah. Compressors are big and heavy.
yeah. But they're developing magnetic compressors that don't
Yeah.
have any more wala na siyang moving parts. I mean, wala na siyang friction-based mechanical parts. Yung purely magnetic, siya. Suspended magnetic gears siya. So, wala nang wear and tear. Okay.
About, sino pa? John?
John Ivan. Ivan, what's yours?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
As for me naman po, I think i-relate ko rin po sa thesis namin. But then, isa thesis po kasi namin, sir, it focused on the mass transportation system. So, that, sir, we've utilized displacement ventilation system in buses in order to see its relationship with, let's say, airborne particles inside the bus. If it actually helps in exhausting particles out of the bus. So So as for this, sir, as for this proposal, I think I could uh, uh, also apply this ventilation system, let's say in residential or let's say industrial workspaces, because
Mm-hmm.
as for our study, as we've stated in our related literatures in our thesis, that displacement ventilation is that it's energy efficient, and it's more energy efficient compared to the conventional ones where where the supply is coming from the top of the room. Well, the displacement ventilation, the supply is coming from a lower portion of the room. So technically, it just applies the buoyancy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
and also, so it's also better in temperature distribution and something like that, sir.
Okay, so with with these kinds of you always think about who's your client. Kunyari, boss mo is a bus company, let's say.
Yes, sir.
What do they want to see when you use the when you have now that imagine that you now have 3D skills. You're in a multi-million peso project. You are going to pitch to a possible investor your technology. What 3D they need to see to parang gets nila kahit na hindi sila engineer, gets nila anong ibig nyo sabihin.
So I guess, sir, in terms of ventilation system, it's important to visualize the ducting,
Okay. So
ducting of the, let's say, the from the supply to the exhaust of the ventilation system.
Like how it moves, how it.
Yes, sir.
oh, that's good. Okay, so steel
Anyway,
plate,
it's
mass.
time.
Time na. Okay.
You might
So
want to save those files.
yeah. So you guys have
Mhm.
um this evening, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, and then Monday. So you almost have more than 16 hours to report. I know you guys have daily time records. You have to report your activities there. Of course, you can use the logs as well to detail it, and uh, what you call this, si Ivan, given that you're starting next week pa, pwede ka humabol, call this, anyway, any hours that you report, you perform, they're part of the deliverables naman for your school. Okay. Ayun. Thanks, Nico.
Alright. No problem.
I could follow some of the training from while I'm having my other meeting, but kasi I can only look, I cannot
Yeah.
hear.
You're in a
Uh,
meeting.
Yeah. Pero yeah, sige guys, any questions? Use the log. You can use commenting to talk to Nico and as well as me, and
Yeah, we'll get back to you when we get back to you, which
yeah.
probably will be a few hours if we're not on
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, Monday tayo mag-training
But
ulit.
yeah, we'll do the next set of training. I'll tell you how to make custom, shapes, figures, items, complex stuff, lots of parts. And after that, a lot of the focus will be on your actual visualization.
Yeah.
Sir, sir, question po.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, as for the exercises po kayo, sir, can we redo some of our exercises?
Yeah, Monday
Okay.
we'll review them all on Monday. Right, Nico? We're gonna check them all Monday.
Yeah. Sure.
So,
Uh,
sir, over the weekend, we can repeat everything. And we
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have the files. You kind of know what you're looking at. Just go ahead if you want to actually redo them. They're basically really just the feature that you know what you're doing. But yeah.
Okay,
ahead.
sir. Then as for the file, sir, we'll need to upload it in the logs.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
create a folder in your accounts, and then call this link the folder. Make sure that we have permission to look at everything inside that folder. That way, upload ka lang ng upload ng file sa folder na yun.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Okay, thanks Nico, and thanks everyone.
See you guys.
Ingat. Good luck.
Bye.
Okay. I'll
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you po.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's stop recording.